But before I kick everything off, I like to read a poem. So turning back to Edward Thomas, let's read his poem today called The New House. Here goes. My first time to read it. The New House. Now, first, as I shut the door, I was alone in the new house, and the wind began to moan. Old at once was the house, and I was old. My ears were teased with the dread of what was foretold. Nights of storm, days of mist without end, sad days when the sun shone in vain, old griefs and griefs not yet begun. All was foretold me, naught could I foresee, but I learned how the wind would sound after these things should be. Wow. Especially given that I'm listening to the wind right now, blowing storm-like be outside my window. I don't think it's coming through to the microphone though. And I had last night as I slept, I had the window cracked open enough to let a breeze in, and I could hear the wind howling and the flag across the street at the HB Boys facility flapping madly. A little more of this. Now first, as I shut the door, I was alone. So he enters the house, he shuts the door, he's alone. In the new house, and the wind began to moan. It wasn't moaning before. Maybe you can just hear it moaning now that the house is sealed. Old at once was the house, and I was old. My ears were teased with the dread of what was foretold. Nights of storm, days of mist without end, sad days when the sun shone in vain, old griefs and griefs not yet begun. I'd say that's the atmosphere and outlook of a pessimist, perhaps. My very character is of almost annoyingly optimistic, up, forward-looking. I'm maddeningly optimistic, I think. I wouldn't see it that way, but I can understand the sentiment. I can touch that sentiment. It touches me. It's like looking across at another gender, another sex. Like, yeah, you're human, you're female. I can relate, kind of, or different. Likewise, to enter the new house, close the door, become old, feel the house is old, and anticipate the nights of storm, days of mist without end, sad days when the sun shone in vain, old griefs and griefs not yet begun. All was foretold me, not could I foresee, but I learned how the wind would sound after these things should be. That's the outlook of a pessimist, I think. Does he look like a pessimist? I know he was a melancholy man. I would probably, what would I do if I entered the new house? Close the door. I would think about the lives that had lived there. It was a new house, right? It's not an old house. So I would busy my mind populating the house with projects, activities, spaces to do things. And when the winds came and the rain and everything, I would soak up the atmosphere like I did last night. Funny how this all comes together, because last night I was challenged a little bit. I was laying in bed there listening like that, and I couldn't sleep with the wind. And I was challenged just a little bit. I was upset at myself because of a rash move that I made yesterday and making a big purchase without much thought. Dummy me. And I'm, this year ahead of the big move to Japan. I'm moving to Japan this year. In case you're someone who sees this, but you're not following my story, my family and I are moving. I need every dollar that we can to make that move possible. And here I was, spent $600 on a whim yesterday. That's enough for an airline ticket, one way, or a round trip even, but we don't need them in a round trip. Anyway, and that's what I was thinking about, lolling about in the bed, thinking about, why did I do that so rash when I didn't need to? But that's okay. The part of me was okay. That's interesting. So the little piece in me, the optimistic guy, was like, who cares? You get through it, Kurt. You better off that you did. You and Yumiko can enjoy, my wife can enjoy the benefit of what that $600 will yield in the year in which it will apply. And if I have to work a little more, then so be it. If I have to linger beyond December 16th, so be it. These are the thoughts that I was lingering in my mind, but they weren't the melancholy thoughts of the dread that has not been foreseen, described there. These were the thoughts of reconciliation, reconciling the realities of life with the recklessness of my financial mismanagement, which has been my bane my whole life. Who gives it? I'm not worried. I should be, I guess. I always find a way, because I'm hardworking, I think. I always find a way because I'm not hesitant to wake up and pick up a shovel and begin digging a hole to make a day's labor, make a day's income. Now that I may not keep up, right? But I'm still strong enough. That's not going to keep up, Kurt. You need to get yourself, talking to myself, you need to get yourself squirreled away in that little farmhouse in Japan, not too far from the hospital and clinic or the supermarket, but maybe next to a bus stop would be smart too. That Hirayama house might have been a good call after all. That chance is past. Make this move, Kurt. Get yourself settled. Get yourself dug in to a safe and settled in Japan, with the retirement pension coming in, and then just you can add on top of that. You can take on contract work or whatever. This is me so comforting myself, continuing the thoughts that were happening last night. Goodness gracious, how did I do this? Just from reading a poem. Now I've entered into a long soliloquy about my own life. So be it. That's what good poetry does, right? It promotes and prompts the mind to new and interesting thoughts. Hold on, let me capture this poem.